everyone, Yo here at Devon Rex for Art, and I thought I would show a flip through of my Inktober 2019 journal. This is my first year doing Inktober. I've only been doing mixed media for just over a year. So I started with making a journal out of cardboard, covered it with jelly prints that I had on hand, some of them from the jelly print challenge the month before. And I just took regular just some inexpensive watercolor paper, cut it down to 10 by 5, folded each page so that each little page would be a 5 by 5. I didn't want to follow any prompts. I didn't know how I would do with that, so I just decided to do a cat theme, and my focus was to try a different type of ink or different type of technique every day. So day one here we started with Elegant Writer. I really enjoy working with Elegant Writer. It's when you add water to it, it separates into all these lovely colors. And then I just did the background with some Inktense pencils. You just color them on and add some water. Day two we did a doodle cat, added some Bombay ink in the background. Bombay ink comes in just some handy bottles, pretty easy to apply with a paintbrush, and did a nice little copper jelly roll for his eyes. This is one of my favorite pages. Then I did Sideways Sam, so he was done with distress inks and distress oxides. Fortunately, I've lost track of which way my paper was, so he ended up sideways in the book, hence his name. He's a Sideways Siamese, so Sideways Sam. And I did the cat himself on a different piece of paper and then cut him out and added him to the background that I had done with some stencils and some distress oxide sprays. Here was my splat cats. Again, I just used a drop directly from the dropper of the Bombay ink, and then used this little air tube thing to just sort of spread out the splats, and doodled on some little cats, and there you have it, some fast splat cats. Here we tried our hand at making a hand carved stamp. So I just drew out my pattern, added and carved away the bits in there, and then voila, there you go. Mermaid markers for the eyes and the black Sharpie pens, so we got some cat eyes there. On black paper I used white jelly roll and white pit pen, which has India ink in it, to do a sort of a reverse silhouette. So instead of a black silhouette, it's a white silhouette. Here we have some fingerprint kitties. Kind of reminds me of kindergarten art, where you just kind of stick your thumb in the ink pad, give her a go, or your finger or your pinky, and then just doodle the cats around there. So that was easy and fun. Here we have my cat napping. Her name's Abby. She's a little round. She's on a diet. You can hear her meowing for food in the background right now. She's always meowing for food. Here we did I just used Bombay inks with the paintbrush to paint a cat. For these fine whiskers, I found this Copic opaque white liner pen, and it's really nice because it's really fine brush, and you get you can make some pretty fine whiskers with that. So there's a little tip for you. What's next? Let's see. Oh, there's some kind of like splat cats, but I used Jane Davenport ink in a fine liner bottle to just kind of outline the cat and then just add details. The background is just done with the mermaid markers. And every day doesn't have to be complicated. This one's super fast, super simple, just a blind contour drawing. So I closed my eyes, marker, and just drew on my cat. Easy peasy. This was inspired by Terry Runyon. She's a artist on YouTube and Instagram. She does these really fun, whimsical cats, so that's my take on it, using mermaid markers. It's supposed to be a little bit glitzy. I used this golden, what's it called, falling star. It's got some shimmer in it. Didn't show up as well as I'd liked, but it was still fun. For this background, we used the distress oxides again with this smack and drag. So you just put it on your mat, add some water. You just kind of flat drag. And so that's what this part is. And then I just I just drew in my cat, and then I sealed in the cat with the Distress Glaze, so that made it stay put, and then just outlined it with some Bombay ink to add a bit of brightness to it. Again, we did the copper eyes with the jelly roll. Simple little drawing using felt tip markers. For the blue background, just felt tip markers scribbled on a side sheet, use water brush, and it does a watercolor type effect. Very easy, learned that from Dee Dee Willingham. This one, I was quite happy with this, so I did the background entirely with this Daniel Smith watercolor ground, gold color, and then I drew on my lioness, used a bit of Bombay ink for some details, and simple, really, but I thought it was pretty effective. I like how his eye kind of shines there. This lady is done on marker paper using alcohol markers, and just a whimsical little lady. Here we have a technique where I just drew the cat outline with just plain water, then used some Jane Davenport inks, just dropped into the water, and just let it spread. So I used two different colors, then just added some details, did the background using a mermaid marker. This one was called Black Hole, and it's shimmery. This one you can see the shimmer. All right, here we are, day 19. Used felt tip markers again with that technique where you just rub it on a scrap paper, use water to pick it up, and basically you're painting like watercolor. This one was fun, my little ancient alien cat, Sphinx, and that's with, obviously black paper and gel pens. Here we have alcohol ink for the main cat and the little cats, and then use some alcohol markers for some details. This is on photo paper, so it doesn't spread quite as much as it does on Yupo paper, which I did as my last day. Here we have a little scratchy pad using Jane Davenport's incredible pen, and so that's kind of just a fun little doodle. Use the same pen here, this time used water to sort of spread it out. Here we used the Inktense pencils to make some cats on some loopies. I like the format or the composition, so I repeated it. Here just did some doodles, and then did it again monochromatic. This is one of my favorite ones, I think. And to just repeat it, I just traced the first one with some graphite pencil, and then use that to transfer it to the next pages. And there. This little space cat, it's pretty cute, I think. It was inspired by cute pet art on Instagram, and Felicette is one of the first space cats as described by cute pet art, and I liked him. Next day it was snowing, wouldn't you know, on October 28th. Who would think it would snow in sunny Alberta, Canada? Well, it usually does, so I decided to do a penguin and a tuxedo cat, and they're in love. Next day we did a fall background using magicals. They're just a powder that you shake and spread with water. This one's got a shimmer to it. Used the Pitt artist pens to draw a little outline of a tree and a cat, and then some Bombay ink to just darken the hill. Running out of ideas, feeling a little flustered near the end. Coffee, art, and cats in the morning. This cat looks a little bit like a rat, but that's how I feel some mornings, a little disheveled. And that was just with some Micron pens and some Spectrum Noir art liners just to do in color. And last page, we have Abby as a kitten in a pumpkin. This was on the Yupo paper I mentioned earlier, so I just cut that one down to size, and on that the alcohol inks and markers spread really nicely. So the pumpkin and the background is done with the alcohol inks in the bottles, and then the detailed cat is actually done with alcohol markers. I'd never really done that technique before, so that was lots of fun. It's actually based on a picture of her as a kitten, this picture here. So I had lots of fun with Inktober. I encourage anyone to try it. It's a bit of a commitment, but I kept it simple. I didn't have a specific plan. I had done some brainstorming with some ideas, and then brainstorm different techniques, and I would just do whatever technique I felt like doing that day. Didn't have a master plan or anything, but it was lots of fun. So I hope you guys did Inktober and enjoyed it. If you didn't, maybe this little video will help you decide maybe to do it next year, that it doesn't have to be super fabulous art. It's just fun, a way of using your creative brain every day, and maybe we'll do more videos. See you later.